Hi, my name is Ben and this is Design to Make. Today we're going to be making a 3D printed cross roller bearing like this that actually works. So let's talk about what a bearing is. The characteristics of a typical ball bearing include being cheap, well for small diameters at least, and they're used everywhere. For large bearings however, they are very heavy and expensive, typically used in heavy machinery. They're designed to spin fast from a few thousand to 100k plus revolutions per minute. They're good for withstanding radial loads, but not great for axial loads. They tend to work best when mounted as a preloaded pair, like this. There are, of course, lots of other types of bearings that address different needs and can be combined together to complement one another. However, for the sake and brevity of this video, let's jump straight into what the requirements are. I'd like to make something that has a large inner diameter, has compact overall dimensions, is as light as possible, rigid to both axial and radial loads with precise motion. We'd be happy to tolerate some friction as it only needs to spin relatively slowly, less than 100 RPM, and be as simple as possible. So, in comes the cross roller bearing. Instead of a ball bearing, it uses roller bearings that look like tiny tin cans. They're seated inside of a diamond-shaped channel between the inner and outer raceways, alternating orientation of the rollers by 90 degrees. Large inner diameters are common. They have compact overall dimensions with a thin cross-section, rigid to both axial and radial loading, with a high degree of precision. However, the large contact area does result in a fairly high rotational friction, but we don't mind about that. It's moderately complex in its construction, but because it's rigid to both axial and radial loading, one bearing can be used in isolation, so it helps make it as easy as possible to incorporate it into a project. So the cross roller bearing sounds like a pretty amazing bearing, and it is. The trouble is it's expensive, like really expensive. Typically $500 to $2,000 plus per bearing. So let's make one. So why not start trying to print a bearing 100% on a 3D printer? Surely that's the logical place to start. Unfortunately, quite a few previous videos that are out there that suggest this isn't going to work out well for us. This largely boils down to plastic on plastic. Friction is bad, and plastic is, well, too plasticky. It deforms under load, particularly the high load of the bearings with the bearing raceways, and wears very quickly. So you get a bearing that might look good at the start, but very quickly becomes sloppy and not a lot of use. So before we start, let's give ourselves a chance and use real hardened steel roller bearings in the design. This should remove the plastic on plastic movement and greatly improve the resistance to deformation of the rollers. There are lots of websites that sell bearings and also sell loose bearings. They're not cheap, at about 10 cents to $1 for each bearing, but it's not something that you, or at least I, could really make effectively at home. So as you can see here, the inner and the outer raceways are made of two parts, which really make it a lot more amenable to being 3D printed, at the sacrifice of some rigidity. Each halves are bolted together like this. As I showed earlier, here's the printed bearing. Right, version 1. So, first test. Completely 3D printed bearing filled with 9mm bearings, which I will do now. Right, so is it any good? Let's see how much static deflection there is in this very simple setup. Here we've got a micrometer. That's just measuring the deflection of the ring as we rotate it and push some loads against the side of the ring. So it looks like there's about 2 or 3 tenths of a millimeter play. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. I'd be happy by a tolerance of around 0.1 millimeters. That's my target. It feels like most of the play is coming from the plastic flexing. I guess this makes sense as it's made with PLA and only has 2 perimeter layers and 25% infill. So there's a number of changes we could make to make the overall design more rigid. These include using a stiffer engineering plastic that's also tougher, use more perimeters, make the bearing cross-section larger. Perhaps we could also improve the design further by replacing the plastic roller surface that the metal bearings are in contact with a hard metal too. For those keen-eyed among you, you may have spotted the grooves in the internal faces of the bearing. These have been incorporated into the design to hopefully give us a means of trying this. The idea is to inlay a metal wire into the surface of the bearings in a spiral pattern, to give the roller bearings a metal contact surface, well, at least 2 contact points at all time. I'm going to try using piano wire because it's super hard. It actually requires special wire cutters to break it. I completely broke my first pair, and is available in a wide range of precise incremental diameters. So let's try and assemble one with some wire inside. Here's 4 pieces. Right. So it appears that the wire is so bendy that it has to be pre-bent to be a smaller diameter than the central inner ring. Those will just pop out of the grooves. So to do this, I built a wire bender, which is this little guy here. If you're interested in how I built that, I'm going to do a separate little video of putting that together. But it's very good for making different diameter wire consistently the same diameter, and it was quite fun to build. So look out for that as another video coming up. Right, so let's see how the deflection of this bearing compares to the last bearing. Before we start, it's probably worth comparing the differences. So the first bearing was made out of PLA with 2 perimeter layers and 25% infill. This bearing is using polycarbonate and has 4 perimeter layers and also 25% infill. The overall design is the same, so the cross-section of the bearing is the same, but this also has the metal raceways. So using this crude setup, let's see how it compares. Right, so it looks like this has got a deflection of around 0.1 millimeters, which is more what I was looking for. To be honest, it's really quite hard to measure this accurately, particularly when I'm trying to do a full revolution as the bearing moves. So I think we're going to have to come up with something better, but we're probably going to have to save that for next time. But on the whole, the bearing feels a lot more rigid, which is kind of what you'd hope. It really is very little play in here. Right, so what have we achieved? We've created a version 1 and a version 2 of a hybrid 3D printed cross-roller bearing. We've done some preliminary tests that look promising from a viability point of view for at least my needs, but as we might expect, it's looking unlikely to achieve the same level of performance as an equivalent off-the-shelf all-metal cross-roller bearing. From a cost point of view, the version 1 bill of materials is around $50 and the V2 with the wire raceway is at around $80, which if we assume a comparable all-metal precision bearing would be more like $1,500. So we're still on track to save over $1,000 or 90% of the cost of a bearing. Next time we'll see how each of the bearings stands up to more rigorous testing and try to optimize the design using a few other parameters that we mentioned, such as material rigidity or by increasing the bearing cross-section. If you've got to this point, congratulations. Please do like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. And I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.